Well, I believe it is time for Gamer Classics topic.
Yeah,
So,
mine's going to be a little bit less business and more fun speculation discussion.
we need.
Probably the shortest topic of the night, but doesn't mean it's the worst. Because we're going to talk about some Metroid Prime 4, guys. This is one that I believe all of us here. I think maybe Eric, you might be a little bit more kind of
Did
in
you
the
see the
middle.
new
What?
trailer? I don't know. I haven't seen the new trailer yet, but I don't know. It's one of those things that I may or may not.
For sure, I get that.
have a whole
Josh,
lot
are
of
you a Metroid fan at all, or is this something that has your interest?
1,000%
Okay,
since the first
rad.
game on the NES, and loved Prime. So
Awesome. Perfect. So this is obviously a game most of us tonight have been waiting for a really, really long time. A generation, you could say. And a lot of us really want this game to succeed and do well. And we've been speculating on the podcasts forever now. Kind of what the future looks like for this game, what kind of marketing the game will get. And I think it's safe to say that the marketing has been a little bit light for Metroid Prime. But if I remember correctly, a lot of us were in agreement, or at the time speculated and expected that we'd be receiving some sort of Metroid Prime 4 direct. I personally think that that's something that would really, really lend itself to the game. This is one that obviously the core audience is going to be there, but anyone who's an outsider who's never played a Metroid Prime game is going to look at this trailer and think it's like Call of Duty or Titanfall or any other first-person shooter, and they might think it looks kind of slow and less action-packed than those and be turned off by that. So I'm personally really hoping that we get something that really dives into this game, really kind of explains what makes Metroid Prime different than anything else, focusing on the exploration and abilities and the world design and that sort of stuff. My question for you guys is, with what we've seen now to be the ramped up kind of marketing, we're seeing new trailers, we're seeing commercials featuring the game, all good stuff. How do you see that marketing expanding leading up to the launch? Do you believe that we'll be getting a solely focused Metroid Prime Beyond Direct, or do you think it'll just be trailers, marketing with a launch trailer, or another possibility is maybe they do like one of those 10, 12-minute overview trailers that lands in Nintendo today? So that's the first part of it. And second, what are your guys' expectations for this game in the sales? We spent a lot of time talking about sales today. This is one that a lot of us feel like this could be do or die for Prime, not necessarily the franchise of Metroid. How do you think this one's going to do? What sort of difference do you think launching before Christmas is going to make a potential direct? Let's start with Josh.
I feel like there's a direct on the way. I feel like it's going to be the Donkey Kong scenario. I feel like it needs it, and I think everything was just messed up because of something happening internally where they like had to push from this week based on the amiibo coming out, and so because of that, it just kind of, the only way they don't do a direct in my mind is if they don't want to spoil too much, because I mean everybody is going through this stuff with a fine-tooth comb, and I'm seeing videos and posts on X of like, this might be this hunter based on, like, and it's like some of it seems like a big stretch, but the people that are into it are really, really hungry for it. But at the same time, like, how much we got to see a lot with the treehouse and whatnot. But if I remember correctly, we saw a lot with the treehouse with Donkey Kong also, I think. And
We did.
And I think that I was reading, like, we were chatting about it in my Discord, and like, there's some people that think they should have dropped the 4 from the name because it may have people feeling like they're a little bit left out when
Yeah.
those games kind of resolved, and this is kind of the start again, So
Yeah.
I do hope they at the very least give it the Donkey Kong treatment and give it that direct so that it sells people like Eric even,
Yeah.
and just I am looking at this game. The more I see the trailers, the more I see the graphics, I feel like they're attempting to go for a somewhat of a PlayStation experience here. Like that single player, somewhat cinematic experience that some potentially some really really good storytelling and and I have very high expectations for it and very high hopes, in Retro I trust for sure.
Do you think that are you the last part of this, are you optimistic or pessimistic about the sales of this title? Right now, obviously a direct could change that. That could change the whole conversation. But right now, are you feeling optimistic or pessimistic on how this game will perform?
Uh, do I want to see it make 5 million? Like, do I think it'll hit 5 million sales based on what's going
Sure.
on right now?
Because that
I don't know.
that's important.
That's a
Yeah.
big number, That's a big number. I I I wish we could get into the books and understand like what do they want from this game at the end of the day?
Yeah.
And how much did Mario Kart 8 fund Metroid that we don't have to worry about how much it sells? They can just keep it going.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Like there's enough profit from plenty of other spots that like even if this game doesn't like sell through the roof, there's still a lot that they could do with it, right? And I've been talking. I want to see multiplayer, and I'll only touch on this briefly. Not necessarily just team deathmatch. I want to see a Destiny style like treatment, like a Destiny treatment to
yeah.
Metroid, where we get to make our own hunters. We get to run strikes together where we go after larger bounties. But then I want to see it. I put a little twist on it, and I want to see us all log in and be given the same bounty, and we've got to race and fight each other to get that bounty. I think would be super super fun, and just like uh, even if like comes down to like, yo, I was able to hit you with a shot that like froze you in place as you were trying to grab it, couldn't grab it, whatever the case may be. Like I
Sure.
feel like they could do so much with the series and hopefully we're just at that beginning phase. And I know there's talks out there of like they've already started working on the next one after this, and maybe it's just moving some assets around and that kind of stuff. And I do hope that's the case. It's an interesting game because you look at the desert and everybody's like it looks pretty bland, but then uh you look at some of the other areas and it's like there's
Stunning.
so much
Yeah.
here. The textures are amazing. The environment looks amazing. And
It's hard to
so
believe it's a Switch 1 game.
at
You know what I
times,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm curious how much Switch 1 footage we've seen.
Sure.
So,
For sure.
but yeah, I'm all in. I can't. I'm
Awesome.
like I got like the Cadillac headphones, the lights are going off. I'm like
Nice.
I don't exist once that
That's
game drops for a while, so I'm excited.
That's the way to do it, and I think you made some really good points. I feel like my hope for this game is that it at least breaks even. Knowing the development cycle, I think breaking even is a massive win. This is a game they've been developing for a full generation. Started with one team, canned, started over with a new team. That's a ton of money just out the window. So breaking even with a broken development cycle that required a full reset with another company, to me, that's a huge deal. Because then it's like, well, if we had just started with Retro, we would have made some good profit on this one. That's a good sign. Um, I do wish that Nintendo stuck with the tried and true from the get-go. We'd be having a different conversation now. Less money thrown into development, but Primal.
Sorry, my mic
Thoughts
was
on
muted.
Sorry, no. Thoughts on Metroid Prime 4, how you're feeling about it right now, Are you optimistic or pessimistic about sales when it launches? And do you think we'll get a direct, just an overview trailer, or some sort of special Nintendo Today breakdown of everything?
I think a direct is coming. Fairly confident in that. So I think that's going to happen. I think it needs to happen. I think this game needs more explanation. They do it for Xenoblade. They did it for Kirby Air Riders twice. It's coming. It's just, maybe they'll let the dust settle on Age of Imprisonment this week. Nothing wrong with that. There's plenty of time to still squeeze in a direct. That said, I'm really excited for the game. Of course, I was excited the moment the logo popped up in 2017. And then when Retro Studios got it back, well, Retro Studios has never done me wrong yet with a game. Now I understand it's like mostly a new team, and there's reasons they haven't been able to get a game out since Tropical Freeze, but it doesn't matter because this game is coming out now, and I've liked everything about it. I haven't gone hands on with it, but I know Stash did. I watched his video and his impressions on that. Was very, very pleased with what I was hearing. I don't know that I've ever been more curious to try a mouse mode in my life than in a game that has haptic feedback in the mouse while you're firing it. I haven't really experienced that yet on Switch 2. Not truly. It's just basic rumble, which is not the same thing. So I'm very curious on that. And then, honestly, the marketing for the game is just, it's been kind of crap, I think, to reach like a bigger audience. So when we're talking about the sales aspect, look, it's already a series that doesn't have a lot of appeal. I think it being on Switch 1 and Switch 2 will help. It being a holiday title, I think, will actually help because they're heavily promoting this. Almost harder than they were promoting Metroid Dread when it came out, which kind of got like side promotion to, hey, we're launching Switch OLED. So I'm very, very curious on the sales. I personally don't know that this is going to sell more than 5 million. I think if it gets to 5 million, I think that's a good number. I don't know if that makes the game profitable. That's one of those things that they've spent a lot on this game. Everything we've been hearing, $100 million plus on this game. It means you got to sell a lot. And we'll see on that front. It could just be one of those where Nintendo doesn't care, because my biggest concern is like if it doesn't sell enough, will we get another one? But then
that's my fear.
There's also Nintendo could be like, well, hey, we subsidize to have games like this with our other games that don't cost as much, but we know sell a hell of a lot more, like Mario Kart, So it's interesting to see if that's a mindset they have and they just think Metroid's that important, because if we're completely honest, like they've canceled franchises that were selling around what Metroid was selling, like F-Zero, and yet they've kept Metroid around despite it not really selling well. And the thing is, it's not just not selling well, it's how expensive it is to make it. Like Kirby doesn't sell incredibly well, but it's not that expensive of a game to make. Now that changed a little bit with Forgotten Land, but that also was one where looks like they invested a bit more in that one than we're used to seeing with the side-scrolling adventures. So I'm very curious. I think a lot's riding on it. I don't know. I know Nintendo does not like the way Western studios make games. They're very much not into this whole way that we do it over here. Temporary contract employees, boosting budgets, cutting people after, not keeping your talent. They don't really like how that works here, but I always say this, like, part of the reason it is that way, and I know this from me working in a similar related field in tech and my dad having to deal with this stuff as well. People that work in this field like their freedom, and you don't have any more freedom than when you're a contract employee. You control where you work, when you work. You get to write those details. And you might not have the perk of job stability and stuff like that, which, and the way today's world's working, I'm not so sure there'd be job stability regardless today. But even going back, but before AI was really pushing a lot of jobs out the door. So I think Metroid Prime 4 is going to do just fine. I think, and that's all I really expect. I don't think it's going to do crazy numbers this holiday. Look, if this thing does crazy and goes 10 million plus, no, you're not going to find anyone more happy than me. Not because I make that money, but because that means we're going to get a hell of a lot more investment in Metroid going forward. That's what that would mean. So if you wonder why customers sometimes care about sales, it's because they want more. And you don't get it if it doesn't sell enough. All right.
Very nice. Let's go over to Eric. I know you gave a little, you're not the biggest Metroid fan, but thoughts at least on how you think this will perform based on what we've seen so far. How optimistic are you about a direct, or do you think it'll be, just kind of like an overview trailer or a Nintendo Today announcement? What are your feelings on this one right now?
Yeah. I mean, it almost has to have a direct. I mean, there are plenty of people out there that don't know what these types of games are. And, the direct gets it out there. It shows people the game itself. I know, trailers can do that and stuff like that, but this directs actually show, like, well, get gameplay out there, things like that. So it almost just has to have a direct. If it doesn't and things keep trickling out the way they are, I don't know. It could sell okay, but it's just one of those things that I think there's a lot of people out there that just don't know what this game is.
Yep.
So, right now, if things are to continue the way it is, if 3 million sells, is that good? I don't know. Because I think that's right about what, one did. Maybe a little bit less than that, but, but if they get a direct out there, they kind of show what this game's about, this type of thing, that type of thing, and get kind of the hype flowing. I think they can actually push that up a little bit.
Yep.
So it's kind of just, it's one of those that it just kind of feels like it needs a direct just because we need to know what this game's about.
Absolutely. I think that's the most important question that Nintendo needs to answer. What is Metroid Prime? Because the fact of the matter is most people don't know what Metroid Prime is.
Right. And
Most people probably think it's a first-person shooter.
Right. I don't know what it fully is either. And the only reason why I halfway know is because I'm friends with you guys and I've seen, a little bit of trailers. I've seen, I've watched a little bit of gameplay here and there.
Sure.
But a lot of casual gamers are not going to know. They're going to look at it and go, yeah, okay, this is your standard this game, and just completely assume a bunch of things that may not be correct.
Yeah, if you're 15 to 25 and you've never played or heard of Metroid Prime in your life, which odds of that are very high, and you see it in one of the directs that we've gotten, yeah, your assumption of what the game is probably like a 99% chance wrong of what kind of experience you're going to be getting. But let's move on to the Stash Man, because I know you've got some thoughts on this one.
Yeah. So this is my overall thoughts here on Prime.
Yeah, Prime, basically, just how you're feeling about it so far. Your expectations, are they optimistic or pessimistic on how it will perform sales-wise? And additionally, are you still a believer that we'll be receiving like a Metroid-focused direct? Or do you think at this point it's more likely that we'll see maybe just an overview trailer or some sort of special Nintendo Today announcement or series of announcements for it? Obviously, Nintendo's ramped up the marketing now, but kind of just gauging your expectations and feelings.
Okay. I feel really good about it. Obviously, I played it, really enjoyed it. Would have loved to have played more of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you're in a setting like that, we all know that from going to PAX, when there's all these games to play, and you would have stayed and played more if you could have, says a lot. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. So I feel very good about it. I know a lot of people are concerned about the marketing. And look, if we go back to some of our previous episodes, we talked about this as well. What I had said is I expect marketing to begin 30 days, a calendar month. That's exactly what happened. We just got it. It just started. That the timeline's perfect. There's other games still coming out. We got Hyrule Warriors tomorrow. We got Kirby coming out, and then it's Metroid. Okay. So if you market the heck out of Metroid, but then you don't Kirby, what does that say about Kirby? We kind of have to get these things out the door because they're all jumbled up so closely together. Each one needs a certain amount of spotlight to maximize performance. And so I expect more marketing from Metroid. I do still believe that it's very logical for a direct to happen. I think even if Nintendo at some point wasn't planning on doing a direct, and
real quick, sorry, Thunderstash. Josh has to bounce. Josh, do you want to plug your channel really quick and say a heartfelt goodbye?
A heartfelt goodbye. Yes, thank you guys so much. I'm so sorry for my voice tonight. This cold just been kicking my ass, unfortunately. So, yeah, seriously, thanks for having me. I really do appreciate it. I'm N64 Josh everywhere. Yeah, YouTube, TikTok, all the places, and do a Nintendo podcast called the Nintendo Powercast. That can be found everywhere. So appreciate you guys so much, and we'll see you very soon.
Feel better,
awesome,
man.
Brother.
All
Feel
right,
better.
later.
Cheers. All right.
I remember what I was saying. Yeah, so the direct.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's very logical still for a direct. And what I was saying is I think if it, hypothetically, if maybe Nintendo wasn't planning on doing one, which I do believe they are, but if they weren't, and then they saw the success that the direct for DK Bonanzas brought, I feel like that would be proof enough to change the tune and to have a direct if at some point they weren't, right? Again, you look at the amount of money though spent over the several years of development, and it costs no money to have a Nintendo Direct. When I say no money, yes, you have to pay employees to put this thing together. Okay, but this isn't like you're paying to have a Super Bowl commercial. This is your platform, man. You created a direct. You created the direct to consumer communication with the Nintendo Directs. You don't have to pay a fee to yourself to have a Nintendo Direct. So logically, yes, I don't know why in the heck you would not have one with the amount of money spent. And again, I think it's really important for people to understand that this is a first-person adventure Metroidvania. And you need to figure out how to explain that. And the sooner you can figure out how to explain what the genre is so people don't compare it to Halo like they did back in the day or Destiny today. It's like, no, dude, these games aren't even close to each other. Zero comparison. A better comparison would be like Indiana Jones. That's a first-person adventure, right? It's got puzzles in it. There's way more comparison there. So, I think that would be a very good move. And again, I still think it's going to happen. I think we have enough time. Again, everyone's talking timelines, but we got to get Kirby out the door as well. And marketing just started. Marketing starts 30 days. And that's where we're at. And so all good there. As far as sales, right? As far as how I think it's going to perform. I am going to say I think it will sell over 5 million. I can tell you why. Okay. Couple reasons.
make me
that
so
we need to
happy.
factor in. Okay. One, get it out of the door. It's on 2 platforms. Okay. You have the Switch 1 install base and the Switch 2. We know that. But again, it should be said again. Here's the other part that I don't think people are thinking about, but I'm thinking about because I'm always thinking about this. And it's that I've always said this. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when Metroid Prime 2 and 3 come to Switch 2. And again, you go back to my Metroid video, Switch 2 experience.
Mhm.
As soon as I used the mouse controls, I turned around to Michaela and said, "Oh, okay. I 100% know that Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3 will all come to Switch 2. Metroid Prime 1 Remastered will get 4K mouse controls at it, and Metroid Prime 1 and 2 will come to Switch 2. Because once you feel it, once you control it, you know. I literally knew immediately. So this is going to happen. And with that belief, knowing that, okay, we're going to have Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3 on Switch 2 in 4K. And 2 and 3, whatever form they come in, right? I'm not concerned about that. They'll look fine. It's about the gameplay. It's about the mouse Joy-Con controls. But having all of those on Switch 2 will propel Prime 4. That's my mindset, in that they will all work together. They all feed off of each other. I also look at, this is the first holiday. So Prime's out early. I mean, it's out in the first 6 months. That's a big deal. That's a big deal for evergreen status. And again, if you get it out like it is in the first 6 months, and you bring out Prime 1, 2, and 3 with the Switch 2 treatment, and then they make an announcement that they're going to be doing Prime 5, which, again, we've heard those rumors. That gives people something to like buy into. Okay. Okay. So all of the Metroids are on Switch 2. So if I have a Switch 2, I can get all of them. They're all in 4K now. They're all running 60 FPS or 1080, 120. It's got the mouse Joy-Con controls. All right. I'm in. I'm going to jump in and do this. I'm going to play all of these. They're building something here. I can see the trajectory. I get 4 games. There's a 5th one that they're working on. I want to buy into this world of Metroid. I think you'll get a lot of people who do that. So again, I think the keys to Metroid is the Direct's really important. It's not make or break, but I do think it's important. And if their marketing team can figure out how to explain that Metroid is a first-person adventure game or a first-person Metroidvania adventure, like, this is your genre. Like, you co-authored this genre with Castlevania. You need to figure out how to tell people what this genre is. And that it's a Metroidvania, but in first person. But you need to figure out how to talk to people on their level, on their terms, to get them to understand. Easier said than done, because it's people have been getting it twisted since Metroid Prime on GameCube. So it's not a job for me. But yeah, I think more than 5 mil. I do. It's gonna go evergreen. That's where I'm at.
I mean, that's music to my ears. Even 5 million, I'd be so happy with.
Yeah, it'll be the highest
like-
selling Metroid.
to me, surpassing whether passing 5 million means profit or not. Like let's just say it hits about 6 million sold. It's like 5.8 or 5.7. I feel like even if due to like the rough development history, I feel like Nintendo would view that as a win. I feel like they'd be like, holy shit, this new Metroid game just about cracked 6 million, most in series history by a landslide. Maybe we're onto something here. Maybe we finally found an audience for it, and that's really exciting. I mean, I do agree with things that you've said on the podcast in the past. As far as I do think it would have made more sense for Nintendo to get the 2 and 3 remaster or even up-resed versions of those games, whether it's on NSO or on the eShop.
You know what I thought
prior.
about? It's another boost
Sure.
to release it after.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have the initial excitement now, and then you release the other two after, and then that puts Metroid once again into social media, into search engine results. It gives it another pop for each time you do it. That might be the case.
Yeah, no, it very well could be. I think the smartest thing that they could do is just don't shadow drop it, please. Please don't shadow drop Metroid stuff going forward. I really think that hurt Prime 1 remastered. I think with a niche title like that that doesn't have a wide audience, I feel like they should have hyped it up. Like this is a game of the last century. One of the most beloved, most critically acclaimed, highest reviewed. Like hype it up. This is a huge deal.
It was during COVID, right?
Yeah. But I don't know. I think I've been the most vocal on Prime 4's marketing with a little bit of my disappointment. And honestly, it really just comes from the place of a fan who really wants Prime to succeed. I'm really scared. I'm really scared of this being like, at least we went, like, it gets great reviews but sells crap, and it's like, at least we went out with a bang. And obviously I'll be happy to get traditional Metroid, from there on out. They're always phenomenal experiences. But this is such a unique and special series. There's nothing else like it. There's no first person shooter like this at all. And the amount of influence that this series has had in terms of like level design and exploration and that feeling of loneliness and isolation and just the cool places that they could still go with this series. I really, really want it to succeed. So when I voiced my concerns, it's been me understanding the normal Nintendo cadence of we have our games announced each time one releases, then we focus that next month on the next game, marketing that one, pushing that one, and that one releases, and then we move on to the next one. I've felt, and this is just from a place of love and fear for the series. I felt that, well, maybe this is one example of an exception where, because of the cost to make this game, because of how niche it is, and most people who own a Switch have never played Metroid. Maybe this is an exception where we should go a little bit harder with this one throughout the next, maybe even a 3-month push, But I don't know. I'm not an expert in marketing. I feel like I have a good grip on some stuff. There is a strategy. There are professionals in charge of this stuff, people who are supposed to be experts. So I put my faith in them. I trust them. Regarding the future marketing, I fully expect. I've been saying it all year long. There needs to be a Metroid Prime 4 Direct. I stand by that. I think it would be an extreme disservice to the game to just do an overview trailer or drop something on Nintendo today. This game needs that push that they gave Donkey Kong Bonanza. And lastly, I don't know how much sense this makes from Nintendo's perspective, because obviously we just got a bundle with Pokemon, but I would love for them to announce a Metroid Prime bundle. It would be at the beginning of December that the game comes out. That's just in time for any last-minute shoppers buying for the holiday. The Pokemon ones I fully expect to sell out. That means that you have an option to buy a Switch 2 with a discounted Switch 2 game, and people to go, well, hey, I've never played a Metroid game. I've never heard of this series, but it comes with the bundle. It's only $50 instead of $70 normally. Yeah, I'll check it out. It just seems like a good move to get this game in the hands of someone who wouldn't go to the store and buy it or hop on the eShop and buy it. But that's just me.
Yeah, I like that. I was thinking about a bundle as well, and I also like kind of look at down the road too. Once we get the other Metroids, I mean, what if you did a bundle with more than one Metroid?
Sure.
I mean, think about it. You look at what Capcom's doing with Resident Evil. They're bundling 7 and 8 for $10 each with all the DLC.
Right.
Who's to say Nintendo can't do something similar with Metroid, especially when you had
Yeah.
Metroid Prime Remastered come out at $40.
Mm.
So that's another
Yeah.
way to get Metroid in the hands of people, and to really get them bought in is like, yo, we're giving you a great value, right?
Yeah.
I look at that. I also look at, I know Nintendo doesn't do anything for it traditionally, but it is Metroid's 40th
Yeah.
next year as well. And the other thing I look at, which I believe Nintendo is proud of, is that they have, as far as video games, they have the original female protagonist,
Yep.
and I think there's something to be said for that. Even the way they unveiled it back in the day, there's something to be said for how they've went
For
about
sure.
it, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, and I think that's important. I don't see Metroid going anywhere.
Yeah.
Again, Nate, like you mentioned, there's some games that might cost less money to develop, and obviously it sells like crazy, and they're able to subsidize projects like Metroid. And maybe that's the case, right? And that's fine. If that's what you want to do internally, if that's how you do it, that's how you make the numbers work, do it. But I think they're really proud of Metroid. And I do still think they have big plans for Metroid. And, there is also that question mark of if you ever have any sort of movie or TV show,
Yeah.
then those numbers take off
Oh yeah, dude. It happens every time.
every time.
Every time. It doesn't even matter the game. Cyberpunk. Remember when the anime came out and then numbers skyrocketed? I forget what the
Yeah.
percent. It was insane.
Fallout.
Fallout, same thing. Even 76 skyrocketed, and that's a game that most of the community hated.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And that's why we're getting it on Switch 2, obviously.
Witcher 3, the Witcher series, skyrocketed again years after it came out because of the Witcher Netflix TV show.
They all do. People
they
look to
always
see
do.
how can I play these games, just like this Mario Galaxy movie. That's why the game's out. That's why we have it. That's why it's on Switch. That's why it runs better on Switch 2. You capture both install bases. And when they go see the movie, they're going to go buy the game. That game is going to sell like crazy at $70. And the average consumer is going to walk away saying that's a good deal. And then when they play it, they're going to say that was a great deal after they beat it. So they're going to be like, dude, these games are amazing. I basically paid $35 each for these. That's unheard of. And again, meanwhile, the gamers, the hardcore gamers, think it's a terrible deal and greedy. It's so funny.
And I mean, another thing to get the game into people's hands, they already have it created. Drop your demo. Zora said it
Yeah.
in chat, and I was thinking that just
You gotta.
before they said it. You already have it created. Drop the demo. Push the demo. You know, Nintendo Today app, say, hey, we got the demo going. You know, anywhere you got going, just announce that you have the demo.
You got to. And same thing, I said it in my Metroid video. And I said it on our podcast right after I came back from Switch 2 experience that they got to get a demo on the eShop so people can experience this, because that will really help people understand like how cool this is, how the haptics feel in
What
mouse
type of
mode.
game it is.
Yeah, like it's be highly, highly beneficial.
Mhm.
And also make it a demo that carries into the full game, because everybody
Yeah.
loves that.
Yeah.
Even I was just thinking, because I mentioned a bundle. I think a bundle would be ideal. I think it would be really cool, especially if they gave it a themed dock. But they could even bundle this game with a Joy-Cons, like official, not third-party Joy-Cons, like actual official limited edition Metroid
Remember that
Joy-Cons.
mock-up?
And yeah, dude,
It's nice.
that would push sales. People would buy it who don't care about the game just to collect the Joy-Cons. And then guess what? Well, I might as well play the game. I bought it. But I mean, I know that those Resident Evil Switch controllers became readily available again, but they did sell out the first night on the Nintendo store.
Yeah.
The next
did.
morning they were unavailable, completely sold out. So, I don't know. I feel like any sort of bundle it with a Pro controller, bundle it with themed Joy-Cons. Dude, that's a win.
Themed Joy-Cons would be cool because, again, we saw was in the holiday commercial, or was it the overview trailer where the person was playing in mouse mode?
I think it was the overview trailer.
But
Or
you
no,
see
it was in the commercial.
yeah, so in the commercial they show the hardcore gamer, right, playing Madden with the Pro controller. They show the casuals playing in the other mode, and then they show the tabletop mode, right?
Yep.
In mouse Joy-Con.
Yep.
Tabletop, or not tabletop, but mouse mode is going to be really important, like crucial for people to experience. And so it makes sense to do custom Joy-Cons, since that's what you're holding in your hand. And hey, those Metroid Joy-Cons, guess what? You can use them on Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3 also, because those are coming to Switch 2 with mouse Joy-Con controls. That's why it would make sense for me to have Joy-Cons custom and not a Pro controller. I think they go Joy-Cons.
I got one better for you. They release a special Nintendo Switch 2 mouse, ball mouse, not the cookie mouse, ball mouse, and it's a morph ball. It's a morph
That'd be
ball.
sick.
Dude, how sick would that be? So cool. It wouldn't be as practical as a traditional mouse, but it's so rad.
A desk mat would have been cool as like a pre-order bonus, but I also think Nintendo doesn't want people to think it's required to be tethered to a desk. Just like with Jagex Drive, same thing.
Right.
They want to make it really clear that you can use this on your pant legs. Use it anywhere. You don't need to be at a desk. And it's true, you don't have to. You can literally use it on your leg and it works great, oddly enough. But meanwhile, Pokemon came with a desk mat. Explain that one. But I don't know. But they need to make sure people understand how great this mouse mode is.
Yeah.
The tools are there for them to be successful and to propel Metroid to the next level. They have all the marketing tools. Like the things we're rattling off as fans, people do this for a living. You best know this stuff, right? This is your career. You went to school for this. Surely you can come up with better ideas than we are off the cuff,
Yeah.
or at least the ideas we've came up with, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they're getting paid to do it.
E-
a lot of money.
Yeah, we're just shooting from the hip here, coming up with ideas, and I think they're all good ideas that would work
Yeah,
out well.
decent to good.
Yeah, so I
You
got
got someone in the board
they got
meeting.
better.
You got someone in the board meeting. What if we did nothing?
Right.
Like, oh wow, that's brilliant. Yeah, I like the nothing idea.
Yeah.
Fuck.
We'll just let the fans take over. Word of mouth advertising. That's it.
All
Listen,
right.
the fate of this game is in all your hands in the audience tonight. And if you're not down with
What?
Metroid, then you
I
are
thought it
not
was in
my
our
friend.
hands because they only buy things we tell them to.
No, our job is to gaze into the power.
All right.